If you've caught any of my mini videos over the last couple of months, you'll already know that I'm taking it to the Nurburgring in a few weeks' time. I've fitted a cage, done a few cosmetic upgrades, but I've left the last and arguably most important upgrades for today. Wheels, tyres, suspension, and of course, a full service. I'll take you through the ideal wheel specs for one of these things because they are pretty tricky to figure out with their huge calipers up front, but the plan is to get everything boxed off in this video, so I best get started. Let's get this mini finished. Go grab yourself a cuppa, get sat down, and let's get into it. Before we start, I have been getting so many messages about the spoiler and a few other bits that I've fitted to the Mini in the last video. It's from SMPS 2012, and if you fancy getting one, you can use my code lookship when you're checking out to get yourself a nice little discount. It's not just the spoiler, they sell a whole range of other carbon goodies if that's your thing. Interior parts, black trims, steering wheels, Union Jack tail lights. If you've got a Mini and you're after an aftermarket part, they'll probably have it, so make sure you go give them some love. Right, so finding wheels for this John Cooper Works Mini was an absolute ball ache, but I finally have some. You might be thinking, oh, well, where have the 𝙁𝘼𝙊𝙆𝙆 gone that you bought, Luke? Well, these were actually my first choice wheel, and when I bought the 𝙁𝘼s, these BBSs were out of stock everywhere for the next 3 months. However, I did a bit more digging and managed to find the only new set available in Europe, so the 𝙁𝘼s have been sold. They look amazing on the car, and it has transformed the look of it. But before I tell you the specs, I have a few more bits to get fitted first, because you can't just fit new wheels to one of these things without lowering it, and the whole reason I chose these particular dimensions was because of how it'll sit once it's dropped. Whilst it's up on a lift, it would be daft not to do a full service in preparation for the Ring 2, so we've got new spark plugs, fresh oil, and brand new filters to pop in the car as well. After a little bit of a struggle removing the front struts, it was time to swap out the standard springs for the H&Rs, which are a 30mm drop over the OEM ones. Reason I've gone for these rather than coilovers is 1, because I don't really want to ruin the ride of me daily, and 2, because they are significantly cheaper. I don't really think that this car needs any handling mods, I quite like it how it is, but I do want the car to sit a little bit lower purely for aesthetics. Mabel decided she wanted to eat my new bump stops, which didn't matter because I've been sent the wrong ones anyway, and whilst the struts were out the way, in went the new braided brake lines. Again, the standard brakes and calipers are okay, but upgrading lines, fluid, discs and pads is just a way of nuke-proofing everything, so I definitely shouldn't experience any brake fade over the course of one lap of the ring. And if you were wondering, it's Motul RBF 660 brake fluid that's going in. The front struts were back in, the new plugs went in shortly after that, and the rear springs were in position too. All that was left to do then was pop the wheels back on and get it dropped onto the floor, and as you can see, it is so much better. So much better. Right, now everything's fitted, let me run you through what wheel specs I've gone for and why. So the BBSs are 18x8 with an offset of 45, and the tyres are 215x40x18s. With this offset, a 5mm spacer will be required for you to clear the front caliper, but that's basically nothing. You could always run an offset of 40 without the spacer, but these were the only set that I could find at the time. This is, in extremely basic terms, the widest size wheel and tyre combo you can run on one of these things without poking outside of your arch, touching the strut on the inside, or rubbing through your arch when you're driving hard. Because remember, I've dropped it 30mm to get rid of the arch gap. If you run 225x40 tyres, you will rub occasionally when driving hard. But if you can put up with that, then you'll save yourself about 200 quid, because for whatever daft reason, the smaller 215x40 tyres are £50 a corner more. Madness. The original wheels are 18x7s and run 205x40 tyres, so we have widened the track ever so slightly, which is another benefit of swapping your wheels out, as well as them looking a hell of a lot nicer too. And that's the car pretty much ready for the ring. It's all serviced, I've uprated the brakes, and I've done a completely separate video on that if you want to check it out. And now with these wheels fitted, it looks the way I wanted it to as well. You can finally get off my case about not fitting a decent set of wheels to it now and all. The Michelin PS5 tyres are so much better than the horrific run flats you get from standard. And knowing you've got a decent set of rubber underneath you means you can push that little bit harder on the track too. And that's where I'll see you next time, at the Nurburgring. So make sure you stick around and subscribe, because I guarantee you won't want to miss it. I've been Lookship, thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the Green Hell. Bye.
Yes.